Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to have a look at something which is going to make a lot of people either, well, it depends where you come from, right? It's either going to make you extremely happy, or it's going to make you extremely jealous. Because you see, what we've got here is some products and merch based around the 9 Colors Gathering double set, which is coming out in China. Now, I've shown you this a couple of times. I've shown you a few things related to this recently. And it's all basically this double set in Japan, which is half Eevee Heroes and half Fusion Strike. That's essentially where we're going here. It is basically half Eevee Heroes and half Fusion Strike. And it is awesome. And an awful lot of people are going to be very, very excited about it. And we talked about this in various ways. We've talked about the fact that it is probably, at least, going to be bringing in some of those, special illustration rares or alternate arts, call them what you will, at a much more reasonable price, for instance. That's something that I know a lot of people are going to be very, very happy about. But it's also brought with it a bunch of new artwork. And that is what I think a lot of people are going to be getting very, very hyped about. Because, we've got look at the booster packs, right? We've got the booster pack for the Eevee Heroes half, 9 Colors Gathering Friends, and the Fusion Strike half, 9 Colors Gathering Sources. And this is not artwork that appears anywhere else. This isn't some reused artwork. China is catching up. We're talking about mainland China here, simplified Chinese. China is catching up very, very nicely. But they're not just catching up, as we've been talking about lately. What they're doing is they're catching up, but also bringing in a bunch of new stuff while they go. I love it. And let's start off with what I think is going to be ridiculously popular. And this is basically an Eevee Heroes playmat. It is the booster pack artwork for China's equivalent of Eevee Heroes, but stretched out into a full-on playmat. We don't have anything like this. There was no Eevee Heroes playmat first time around. We don't have this. Put very simply, it's not like, it's kind of like that other playmat that was released here. No. We don't have that. Now, there have been plenty of other similar things. Like one of the coolest ones, actually, was a Snorlax and Eevee tag team playmat that was actually released in China a while back. There was an Evolution playmat that went on the Pokemon Center in May 2021, which is kind of cool. And there was another one that went on the Pokemon Center in February 2022. But let's not pretend these are the same thing. This is different. And one of the things is, we had an Eevee Heroes set over in Japan that did introduce a bunch of cool stuff, but it didn't have a playmat in. What we had there was, we had the lovely special art of the Espeon, which was awesome. And then we had a deck box and sleeves and some Eevee Heroes itself, but there was no playmat. We never got, and if I'm wrong about this, please correct me in the comment section. We never got an Eevee Heroes playmat. Now we do. And I promise you, this is going to be a ridiculously popular playmat. But that's not all we have. Because apparently Eevee Heroes is a bit too exciting. We've also got sleeves. It's the same artwork. I mean, obviously, playmat to sleeves, we have to shrink it down quite considerably. But it's there. They're not too bad. Oh, I should say, the sleeves are coming in at 41. As always, please forgive my pronunciation. I am doing my best. But 40 Chinese yuan, you're basically coming in somewhere in the region of, it's about £4.40, but in terms of dollars, you're talking $5.60. It's not too bad. The playmat was 151, which comes in at $21. Which I think is quite reasonable. So we've got these sleeves coming in here as well. Hang on a second, we'll see. What about a deck box? Weirdly not, and we'll get in a minute to why that's so weird. Because it is weird that we don't have it. But we do have a cardboard storage box. It's just a long box you keep cards in. It's got the artwork on, and the artwork's beautiful, as we've already said. So, pretty cool in that regard. Coming in at $35, which is basically $5. It's like $4.87. I'm rounding it up to $5. I feel fine with this. It's quite beautiful. And then we've got Google Translate's got it as a collection card book. It's clearly a binder, which is kind of awesome. But I think the book is actually double-sided. So one side has got the Eevee Heroes artwork with your Giant Umbreon, etc. And the other side's got your Fusion Strike artwork with your Mew and all of that. And I believe it's literally like reversible. So what you do is you essentially, and it stores 216 cards, which should be about the double set. So you put your Eevee Heroes in one side, then you literally flip it over, and then you've got your Fusion Strike in the other side. I don't know how I feel about this. We are not used to having this kind of binder in the UK and US and Europe and all of that. It's generally not the done thing. But part of me kind of loves it. I'm kind of into this, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. I am kind of into this. So that comes in at $101, which is somewhere in the region of about $14. Let's call it $14. Which I don't think is terrible, frankly. That sounds all right by me. So it's a very cool product. It's something people are going to love. And this is a way to get in on both of them. Now, in terms of Fusion Strike, we don't get a playmat. I don't know where they're coming from here. For some reason, we get the Eevee Heroes playmat. We don't get the Fusion Strike playmat. But we do get a deck box. And they've clearly made a decision here. They've gone, right, Eevee Heroes gets the playmat. Fusion Strike gets a deck box. And on the one hand, I kind of get this. Eevee Heroes is clearly like the big part of it, let's be clear. And people are going to love that playmat. But you're telling me you wouldn't want a deck box with Eevee Heroes stuff on? Come on. This is amazing. It's got a couple of dividers coming in there as well. It is coming in at $31, which is $4 basically. And it's lovely. I like it. Just seems super duper weird that we don't get a deck box for Eevee Heroes or a playmat for Fusion Strike. And there is an argument here that they could go, well, look, people are clearly going to care about the Eevee Hero stuff more. So don't do a Fusion Strike playmat. But surely that's also an argument for making an Eevee Heroes deck box. Although remember, we did have an actual Eevee Heroes deck box in Japan in the Pokemon Center set, which was ridiculously expensive and very hard to get hold of. But we did get one. We do also get ourselves a long storage box like we got for Eevee Heroes. Again, just showing off the artwork. And we get ourselves a set of sleeves showing off the artwork, which is cool. So Eevee Heroes, you get the playmat, you get the sleeves, you get the long box. Fusion Strike, you get the deck box, you get the sleeves, you get the long box. And then you've got the binder, portfolio, phrase it how you will, which is basically both of them because it's double-sided. You get to flick it around. It's quite cool. But there's one other thing which is coming out, and by one other thing, I mean 8 other things, and it's sleeves. It's a set of sleeves for each typing. It's literally just the energy symbols. Now, there's no colourless, there's no dragon, and there's no fairy. And the lack of fairy is a little bit weird, because remember, Japan is catching up. So they've had fairy quite recently, far more recently than us. But no fairy, no dragon, no colourless, just the kind of classic 8, if you were. Although if you're old like me, it's really a classic 6, and then they brought in darkness and metal with Gen 2. Point is, and then look, there's very little to say about these. They just look cool. They are coming in at $45 which is about $6. And look, I tend to play fighting decks. I have been playing fighting decks for the vast majority of my Pokemon playing quote-unquote career. I love fighting decks. There's something about it. I just end up going towards them far more often than not. I like playing fighting decks. It's a bit weird, frankly, how often I've played fighting decks compared to other colours, other typings. Dunno. It's just there, alright? I kind of want a set of fighting sleeves. I think they're cool, and I think I would use them, and I think they would be nice. So there we go. Clearly, the Eevee Heroes stuff is what's big here, and this playmat is going to be huge. Now, remember, I do apparently, maybe, still have this sponsorship thing with Shippin' going on. So go to shippin.com, and you can use that website, as I've shown you in the past, to order from other websites. And then, of course, you've got the code PTCGRadio15. It'll give you 15% off shipping. You can use this on reseller websites, but you should be able to use this on the Pokemon Center China. I will see if I can find a link to it, and I will include it in the description, because I'm sure there are a bunch of you watching this that are just kind of like, I want that Eevee Heroes playmat. I don't blame you. It is absolutely stunning. Like the other day, we were just getting excited about the fact that we had this new artwork. Now we've actually like legit got it on a playmat. That's kind of awesome. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me which of these things you are running after. Tell me if you just don't really care. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun things, and get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Ray of Light, who's been a supporter of ours for a little while now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.